There is enough to do this. Make some snow angels. And I'm joined by Chief Tim Adler. Chief, let's get to it. What caused the fire? Residents in DeSoto tell me getting to and from Iowa has been tough. They say the closure of the Black Hawk Bridge has increased travel times. It's been a holiday tradition since 1995. Every year from Black Friday until New Year's Eve, lights shine in Riverside Park to raise awareness of hunger. Ken, the airport is not busy right now. We're actually one of the only people here at the moment. But earlier, there was one departure, one arrival.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, this weekend.
Good evening and thanks for joining us at 5:30. I'm Jeremy Wall. Michael has the night off. A major winter storm continues to make its way across the country this morning, impacting people making the trip home after the holidays. Jeff, it feels a little bit colder outside, but luckily no snow on the ground and not as cold as it usually gets this time of year. A Christmas village in Sparta is bringing joy to the Cooley region.
Tainted water. It is the reality now for some residents in Necedah. As News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall explains, a nearby junkyard is at the center of those concerns.
Sometimes I wake up and I can smell the toxicity.
Harvey Fields is a survivor.
Now, I've had cancer twice.
A Vietnam veteran who's seen it all and knows when there's something funny in the water. So it's no wonder an abandoned junkyard near his home in Necedah left him with a funny taste in his mouth.
The barrels of liquid and oil and batteries and tires and all this stuff is sitting in water. It's leaching right into the aquifer.
He wrote letters to the EPA, the DNR, his elected representatives.
They take my information and they said, well, we'll contact our people at the DNR. So after that, they either call me back and say they can't do it or they don't call back.
Until a day last April, when things at the junkyard took a turn for the worse.
Started going northeast, and so then it came back west and ignited the junkyard.
The fire grew so large, he and his dog were forced to evacuate.
I was sitting in the woodshed, me and the dog, and the DNR came back and said they would evacuate. They got a fire down by the driveway.
The first 80 acres or so were extinguished quickly, but when it reached the junkyard,
went all night because of the petroleum products and everything.
It was bad enough that the Juneau County Health Department came out to test residents' wells. For Harvey Fields, the results weren't good.
It brought back memories like nervousness, anxieties.
The levels of manganese and zinc discovered in his well were far beyond safety standards, which means retirement for this Army veteran looks a lot different than he imagined.
I'm not sure who's supplying the water, but I pick it up at the village hall.
It's a battle that keeps him up at night.
I wake up of a dead sleep, wide awake, and it triggers anxieties. Oh no, not again. Am I gonna have to go through chemo again? You know, I just want to live. I don't want to do another tour of duty.
The question now, who's to blame?
That is a very difficult question to answer. Right now, this junkyard, this former junkyard, is a tax delinquent property. So right now the county does not own it. So that's how it's very difficult to navigate this situation, is there's no responsible party to name.
Even if there was, more testing would be required to determine if the manganese in Harvey's water is a direct result of the fire.
It is naturally occurring in our environment. It could be from the fire, we're not sure.
And until that question is answered, Harvey Fields doesn't know how long the battle will go on. You mean to tell me that residents like Harvey Fields could be dealing with contaminated water for another 2 to 5 years?
That would be potentially. It all depends on what we discover when they start the investigation.
And at 73 years old, it could be the last battle he ever faces.
I earn better than this.
Well, an Afghan family is reuniting in Winona after 3 years.
Now they're together, restarting their lives here in the United States. News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall has the story.
Ken and Emily, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan 3 years ago, Hussein Ali Fru fled with just the clothes on his back. His family stayed behind, but he never thought they would be separated for 3 years.
Hussein Ali Fru remembers fleeing Afghanistan like it was yesterday. The father of two was teaching there when he heard the news.
They told me, teacher, do you know the Taliban came in the city, but because I was busy with teaching, I told them, no, I don't know. They told me every area is Taliban now.
The Taliban took over in 2021. Fearing for his life, he hid near his private education center before contacting his wife and kids.
He told me, please just be safe, your body is important.
After seeking guidance from friends, he walked hours to the Kabul airport. That's where he met with U.S. troops.
I share my story. I'm a teacher. If I stay in Afghanistan, that's very bad for me. Maybe the Taliban will kill me.
Shortly after returning to power, the Taliban enacted a ban on girls' education above grade 6. Many teachers who previously taught girls have since faced intimidation and violence at the hands of the new government, according to Amnesty International. U.S. troops then did a background check and brought Fru to the United States. He stayed at Fort McCoy before moving to Winona.
They told me, if you go to Winona, we will support you about housing, about job, about everything.
With so many people trying to leave Afghanistan, he wanted his wife and 2 children to wait. His wife Fatima says the separation was difficult, in large part because Afghan women lost much of their freedom after the Taliban regained power. According to Hussein, it took time for the rest of his family to navigate the U.S. immigration process. But patience paid off.
I saw them and they see me in the Rochester airport. I didn't believe.
The family arrived in Winona last month. Ever since reuniting, they are spending more time together.
We are reunited and happy lunch, breakfast, dinner. Everything is very excited. I'm so glad.
Over 100 UW La Crosse students gathered on campus today to host a peaceful rally in support of Palestine. News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall was at that rally. Jeremy, how peaceful was it?
Well, Emily, UWL police say there have been no arrests from this rally so far. Most of the students protesting today were showing their support for Palestine and calling for an immediate ceasefire and the release of hostages in Gaza.
UWL students are making their voices heard. Today, multiple students participated in a rally for Palestine.
We've been wanting to do something for a while. We just really weren't sure how to go about it.
The rally comes just days after protests broke out at UW-Madison. 34 people were arrested during the demonstration. Here at UWL, we've seen no arrest from this protest. Anderson says seeing the chaos at other universities has helped keep this one peaceful.
I have friends at Swarthmore, I have friends at UCLA, I have friends in Madison who have been at all of those violent protests before. And I think just seeing all of that, we're really trying to avoid that.
Students aren't just hoping for a ceasefire in Gaza or the release of hostages. They also want the university to disclose where Alumni Foundation investments are going.
We want to see the UW system to pull funding from those places that are going towards that supporting Israel and funding that. So we want to try and encourage the UW system to decrease their funding from that.
But not everyone was showing their support for Palestine. Freshman Ryan Kitson is one of only a handful who came to support Israel. He says he felt safe because he knows the organizers of the demonstration. He also says his representation is critical.
I figure if they're going to make their voice heard, I'm going to at least be the one to stand up and offer a contrary view. Because, well, they definitely have quite a bit of support over there. They don't speak for all UW students, also our students at UW La Crosse. So I think someone should stand up and represent the contrary opinion.
And guys, Anderson says this rally sets an example of smaller schools expressing their voices in the protests. Kat and Emily.
All right, thank you, Jeremy.